For 30 years, my day didn't start without coffee. Seriously, I was convinced I couldn't function without it. Who even was I without my morning cup? That whole ritual, the smell, the warmth, the jolt, I thought it was my entire identity. So 2 years ago, I quit. Cold turkey. And the withdrawal was every bit as brutal as you'd imagine. But the real shock was what happened to my health and my energy in the long run. And it was not what I expected at all. This wasn't just about giving up a drink. It was about facing a 3-decade-long dependency and seeing what life was like on the other side. And I've got to tell you, where I thought I was going and where I ended up were two very different places. Section 1, the before state. My 30-year-old coffee identity. Let's rewind. For as long as I can remember, I was a coffee person. It started in high school and it just never stopped. What began as one cup with cream and sugar to survive a morning working construction slowly ballooned into a non-negotiable part of my life. By my late 40s, my daily intake was practically a science. It would start with a large, strong black coffee the second I rolled out of bed. I couldn't string a sentence together, let alone start my workday, until that first hit of caffeine was working its magic. It felt like flipping a switch in a dark room. Then I would fill up a Yeti Rambler mug to power through the morning. And of course, that dreaded 3 p.m. slump demanded a third, sometimes even a fourth cup just to stay awake at my desk. On paper, it sounds like a lot, but to me, it was just normal. The smell of coffee brewing meant it was time to be productive. The warm mug in my hands was my comfort. My whole day was built around these caffeine spikes. But underneath it all, a dependency was brewing that was way stronger than my morning cup. The thing is, after 30 years, the magic was gone. The coffee wasn't really giving me energy anymore. It was just keeping the crushing exhaustion away. The highs got lower and the crashes became canyons of fatigue and brain fog. I was stuck in a loop, always chasing a feeling that was getting harder and harder to find. I wasn't drinking coffee to feel good. I was drinking it just to feel normal, to fend off the headache and the crankiness I knew was coming if I missed a cup. My body wasn't mine anymore. It was on caffeine's schedule, and that realization was the beginning of the end. Section 2, the why, the breaking point. The decision to quit wasn't some big lightning bolt moment. It was because of a nagging, frustrating health issue that got too loud to ignore, silent reflux. For years, I've had this constant feeling of a lump in my throat, a persistent need to clear it, and a hoarse voice. Unlike classic heartburn, it was subtle, but it was a daily irritation that was slowly driving me crazy. I didn't connect it to my coffee habit at first, but eventually I had to face the facts. Both the acidity and the caffeine in coffee can be major triggers for reflux. The caffeine can relax the muscle that's supposed to keep stomach acid where it belongs, and the acid in the coffee just adds insult to injury. I was pouring gasoline on a fire day after day. The real turning point was when I ended up in the ER sick as a dog. I was referred to an ear, nose, and throat specialist who ran a scope down my throat and found the damage. And that's when it hit me. Coffee wasn't even working anymore. It was just a tool to manage the withdrawal from the last cup, and I was actively making my health worse. I was an addict, plain and simple, trading my well-being for a jolt that no longer delivered. I had to know what life felt like without it. So after 30 years, I decided to go cold turkey. And now, I'm dying to hear from you. Are you a lifelong coffee lover? Have you ever tried to quit? What was your journey like? Drop your story in the comments below. I read every single one. Section 3, the withdrawal hell. Okay, let's not sugarcoat this. Quitting caffeine cold turkey after decades of heavy use is brutal, even if it's brief. The first day was absolute hell. On the morning of the first day, a terrible headache kicked in. And this wasn't a normal headache. It was a deep, throbbing pain like my head was stuck in a vice. This happens because caffeine constricts the blood vessels in your brain. When you quit, they suddenly dilate, causing a surge in blood flow that results in that insane pain. It was a Monday morning and I had to work. That first day was a complete write-off. I had a pounding head, felt exhausted, and could barely function. But here's where my experience was a little different. For me, the first day was the absolute peak of the misery. And after that initial terrible headache, the side effects started to subside pretty quickly. The second day was still foggy, but the vice grip on my head was gone. By day 3, I was basically on the other side of the physical symptoms. The worst was over in about 24 hours. Getting through that first day was one of the hardest parts of this, but it was the necessary price to pay to get to the other side. Section 4, the after and the twist, the black tea revelation. After about a month, the fog finally cleared, and the main benefit I was hoping for showed up in a big way. My silent reflux, it was just gone. The constant throat clearing, the lump in my throat, the hoarseness, it all evaporated. I finally felt normal again. My energy levels were also incredibly stable. No more wild peaks and devastating crashes. I just felt balanced. But here's the part I didn't see coming. While my life was definitely better, it wasn't perfect. I still missed that morning ritual. And while my energy was steady, I didn't have that sharp creative focus that coffee, on a good day, used to give me. I felt calm, but sometimes too calm. A little flat. I even drank lemon water, hot lemon water, for a while to help replace the ritual. But this is where my experiment took a sharp left turn. I decided to bring a little caffeine back into my life, but from a completely different source, black tea. I started with just 1 cup in the morning, and the difference was incredible. A cup of black tea has about half the caffeine as a standard cup of coffee, but more importantly, it has an amino acid called L-theanine. This compound is a game changer because it works with the caffeine. It helps create a state of calm, relaxed alertness by increasing the alpha wave activity in your brain. The result? I got the mental clarity I was missing, but with zero jitters, zero anxiety, and zero crash. The energy from the black tea felt smooth and sustained. The L-theanine basically smoothed out all the rough edges of the caffeine, giving me the best of both worlds. This was the real aha moment. The problem wasn't caffeine itself. It was the massive, high-speed dose I was getting from strong coffee that my body just couldn't handle anymore. My 30-year addiction wasn't to the molecule. It was to the jolt. Switching to black tea gave me the focus and the ritual I loved, while its lower caffeine content and the magic of L-theanine protected me from the side effects. Plus, black tea has its own health perks, like antioxidants that are great for your heart. So after 2 years without coffee, I'm not caffeine free, and that is the most unexpected outcome of this whole journey. I didn't find some new life of pure natural energy. Instead, I found a healthier, more balanced relationship with caffeine. I learned how to use it as a gentle tool instead of a sledgehammer. Quitting coffee forced a hard reset on my body and broke a 30-year cycle of dependency. It let my system recover and showed me what my real baseline felt like. But bringing caffeine back in a smarter way through tea gave me the focused energy that I need to thrive without all the baggage. This journey taught me that sometimes the solution isn't about total abstinence. It's about finding a smarter way forward. I'm no longer a zombie without my morning drink, but I am someone who enjoys a gentle lift to start the day. The difference is now I'm the one in control. My name is Stephen Coffe. Thank you so much for watching. Before I started building success, I was a burnout man trying to hold everything together. Then I hit a turning point that forced me to rebuild my life from the inside out. And I realized that real success starts with changing your identity, not your goals. Now, I help people break old patterns, build better habits, and become the person their future can depend on. Have you ever tried to quit coffee and felt like your brain broke, your mood crashed, and your life fell apart in under 48 hours? This video explains that quitting coffee incorrectly leads to negative side effects like anxiety and exhaustion, causing most people to fail.